Hey everybody, Father Scott Vanderveer here with another installment in our series on the book, Everybody Needs to Forgive Somebody. Speaking of books, have you ever read The Sun Does Shine by Anthony Hinton? It was one of Oprah's book club books a couple of years ago, and it's amazing. Anthony Hinton was accused and convicted of a crime that he did not commit, and he spent 30 years on Alabama's death row. It turned out that his case was all cooked up by a bunch of people who were very eager to have a conviction that made them look successful, that allowed them to look like they were keeping law and order on the streets. And it was based in nurturing people's racist views of the kind of person who would commit the kind of rape and murder crime they were accusing him of, and making it look like simply because of who he was and where he was from and the color of his skin, that that's what had happened. 30 years on death row. He appealed his case over and over and over. And it was so hard for him to be paroled because parole often involves you pleading as a bargain. You have to say, all right, I'll say I was guilty if you let me go at this. And he wouldn't do it. He would never admit his guilt because he wasn't guilty. He was released after 30 years on death row. And while he did receive an apology, how would you ever make up to a person 30 years of their life taken? But he said something interesting. Somebody once said to him, how could you ever forgive the people who did this to you? How could you forgive the state of Alabama? How could you forgive the prosecutors, the jury, the police officers, the judge? How could you forgive a system that could do this? And he said, Alabama already took 30 years of my life. If I couldn't forgive, if I couldn't let go, it would be like giving them the rest of my life too. Isn't that powerful? I've already been through enough, he said. If I let them have the rest of my life, talk about injustice. I would like to propose to you something that is hard for me sometimes to remember, but something that I do believe. And that is that whether or not we've ever been convicted and put in jail unjustly, all of us know what it feels like to be in jail. Because anytime we have not forgiven someone, we have sentenced them to jail, so to speak. We've given them a sentence of unforgiveness. We say, I am going to guard you in my jail of unforgiveness. I am not going to forgive you. When I think of you, I will think of someone with no honor. I will not give credit to your name. I will not rest and feel peace when I consider your life. And that is very difficult because that means we have to guard our own jail. We have to live there too, because we have to be the warden of the jail. We have to make sure that that person remains unforgiven. And so we need to do shifts day and night, making sure they're in their cell, that they're not getting out and going into the yard, getting privileges that we haven't given them. We do this all internally, of course, because a lot of times if someone's hurt us badly, we're not even in touch with them anymore. They're not even a part of our life, but we keep them in jail and we have to staff the jail. We're the warden. We're the guard. What a crummy deal. What a crummy deal. What a miserable thing for us to have to do, to have to stay in that jail with that person who hurt us. It goes to show that unforgiveness is always an offense to ourselves as much as it ever could be to somebody else. If we think of it as something that offends God, how about thinking of it also as something that hurts and offends ourselves? Since it means that we are definitely increasing our sorrow and struggle. If we don't forgive, we know for sure that we are increasing our pain. that we are elongating the amount of time it's going to allow us to get over this. We're putting ourselves in jail. I think this can happen in big ways and in small ways. One time at the funeral of her husband, a woman was chatting with her friend, and she was talking about the memories she had with him. She said to her friend, "It has been so hard and eye-opening for me to be here at my husband's wake and at his funeral and now at this reception." She said, "Because everyone is saying wonderful things about him. And I know that they're true. I know that he was somebody who did very good and kind things and was wonderful in so many ways." She said, "But 20 years ago, he hurt me really badly. And I never forgave him. And today I'm realizing that I've lost 20 years with my husband." Isn't that something to consider? I've lost 20 years with my husband because I couldn't forgive him. And I've placed him in the icebox. And that meant I wasn't able to enjoy his gifts. I think a lot of us can relate to that kind of feeling. Whew. Can you tell how much we needed this series, how much we need to consider the things that are being talked about in this book? Whether you're reading along with the book or not, whether you're part of a small group or not, I think it's so important to be pondering these things and to be willing to talk with people that we love about them. Forgiveness is one of the hardest things we could ever face. It's the thing that people make appointments to talk with me about more than anything else. So let us be willing to think of things differently, to recognize that in order to keep someone in a state of unforgiveness, we're going to have to guard them in that jail and do 24-hour shifts. And that just makes me feel tired. Don't you agree? Thanks for considering all of this with me. May God bless you all.